And thank you and welcome back to another series of Did You Know? Before I get started and introduce my panel today, again, a few things. First, turn on your notifications so that you stay connected to the Sheriff's Office, not only for other segments of our Did You Know, but for important news information or important information that the Sheriff's Office and we want to share with you. As well as please send in your questions. If there's questions about anything you want besides the topic we're going to talk about today, please send them in. We will answer them. If we don't get to them on this series, we will make sure we email you or contact you somehow. I know with the weather today, and we all woke up, there was a lot of snow. I didn't anticipate that. So if you have questions about the roads, hopefully everybody out there took a little extra time today. But please, if it's something you want, even if it doesn't involve the Sheriff's Office, but it's criminal justice related or we can help you, please send those questions in. And so today I have some special guests. We're going to talk about probably one of the more specialized but a critical part of the Sheriff's Office, and that's our search and rescue. And so with me today, Brian, thank you for joining me again, our PIO.
Good to see you, sir.
And then I have Sergeant Fisher.
Sir.
He is assigned to search and rescue. And then I have Jack, who is the president of our SVU, which is our special vehicle unit. And thank you guys all for joining me today.
Absolutely. Guys, I mean, we all, if you're a regular viewer of this or our social media, you know how proud the Sheriff Balaam is of the teams here at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. Sometimes it's the motors team, or we're talking about canine or SWAT, that sort of thing. Search and rescue is its own monster, and there's so many teams that fall underneath it, Sheriff. When people ask what is in search and rescue, it's not just, oh, somebody gets lost and we go out and find them. There's so much more to it. Can you tell people, just explain search and rescue and the teams in it?
Absolutely. So I'm going to have Sergeant Fisher talk about the teams, but what I'll say is this is, I think when our community sees search and rescue come out, as you'll see in just a minute, there's a lot of specialized units. And I can't say this enough about the teams is a lot of the equipment is their personally owned equipment. There's some that the Sheriff's Office has, but it's very small. So when you talk about our planes, when you talk about our side-by-sides, the UTVs, when you talk about a lot of the other equipment that Sergeant Fisher will explain here in a minute that the Hasty uses, or the dive team, or the canines, those are personally bought equipment. And, you know, our volunteers, which we're going to talk about, I know later on is a question. So I may be getting ahead, but it can't be said enough. They sacrifice and they give so much of their time, and it's all voluntary. Again, all voluntary. I have two paid positions as we go through these teams when Sergeant Fisher talks about it in a second, and that is Sergeant Fisher and I have Deputy Harvey. The rest of the volunteers, Jack being one of them, they give their time. And I think we can't tell the community and really stress that enough is it's important. They give a lot of their time. So Sergeant Fisher, go ahead, line out the teams for us.
Yeah, so we do have several groups that come together with search and rescue that make up our group in its entirety. One of the groups, Washoe County Search and Rescue, Inc. Another is the Washoe County Sheriff's Hasty Team. And then you have the Washoe County Sheriff's Air Squadron. Also, which Jack represents today, the Specialized Vehicle Unit. And then you have the Washoe County Sheriff's Search and Recovery Canine Unit. Those are all 501(c) organizations, volunteer groups that come out after hours during unexpected occasions to come help the community when they're in any kind of distress. Also, we do have three teams that are sheriff's teams. We have our IMT, or Incident Management Team, and then we have the Raven helicopter, which a lot of people are familiar with. Mm-hmm. And then we have recently the Raven drone program as well. So all these organizations come together and make search and rescue work, but primarily all these are focused on volunteers that come out after hours and donate their time and risk their lives to assist the community.
And I remember, maybe both of you remember, I want to say it was last 2021. Again, they're funded either through donations or grants. And I believe it was it Hasty or Search and Rescue that got the underwater drone submarine?
Yes, the ROV.
The ROV.
Yep.
And that was 100,000, 150,000?
Yes. Yep. It was a little over 100,000
that we're able to get. So again, that's another thing out there. For all of those that have donated to these teams, I want to say thank you. And for those that have grants, you know, again, they do it all on their own. Sheriff's Office may help guide, but they write it up, they research it, which is truly impressive.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, everybody talks about Raven and they love seeing Raven. I want to show Raven in action. We got some great video of an operation up in the snow. We'll have Sergeant Fisher talk about it here in a second, but check this out. So, Sergeant Fisher, are you rescuing Santa Claus there? What is going on there?
Yeah, so a gentleman drove his pickup, in the backcountry areas of Nevada, which we do have a lot of those. During that time frame, an unexpected storm came up, dumped a heavy amount of snow, and his vehicle got stuck. By the time we were notified that this guy had been out there, it had been 3 days and he was in dire straits, and actually left his vehicle to try and get out on his own. So at that time, we were requested to assist. I had Raven go out there, and we were able to locate this guy in deep snow, dragging his personal belongings, and he was on the threshold of dying and due to hypothermia. He was soaking wet. We did end up, like you saw in the video there, hoisting him out. And luckily we saved his life, but that one was a close call.
It's got to be one of those moments where training and continuous training really pay off. I've got another video I want to show you out at Pyramid Lake. Raven and our search and rescue team training, some incredible GoPro video. Check this out. Sarge, I have to say you have a pretty cool office, man. That is cool.
It's a lot of fun. Hey, I mean, there's a diversity of different things we do, different things we train. This is just one part of it. Every year we go out to Pyramid and we do swimmer drops, and they learn to drop from the helicopter into the water, and then the helicopter swings around and actually does a hoisting. So we get our hoisting practice in at the same time. And it's really a fun thing to do and to watch.
Sure, if you really get to see what kind of a tool Raven is around northern Nevada, not just for search and rescue, but for support and other operations. We have the side shows where they were part of it too, and that's all part of
absolutely
all that division.
And the one thing, and I'll lean over to Jack, because we talk about the missions and we had videos, and again, all the equipment, but training. Every one of these units trains at least. How often does SVU train, Jack?
2 or 3 times a month, and Hasty team probably even more than that. Very busy.
So, again, here you have volunteers. They bring their equipment. They bring, for SVU, if you've ever been to some of our demonstrations, so when we have the side-by-sides, the majority of those are all personally owned, or the four-wheelers with the tracks for the snow, which are kind of fun to go. I told them this summer or winter, I want to go out and play with them, but that's all their stuff. And so they have to train. So besides going out and purchasing and bringing that equipment to us to help serve you and our community, is they give a lot of their time on training, which is huge. And then you have meetings, because again, you have a board because you're a nonprofit. So there's meetings, there's training, and then there's all the calls that we call you out to.
Missions, and that's what we really look forward to. Yes.
Jack, I want you to brief us on something, an incident that happened it was New Year's up on Mount Rose, when a lot of people weren't prepared for what hit us and that storm that hit us. And tell me about this rescue. There were 17 people rescued out of vehicles that were just buried in the snow. Wait till you see these pictures.
Right. The sheriff's office was notified of a number of people that were stranded up on the Mount Rose Highway in a very precarious area near the summit. It's underneath a known avalanche area. So we sent our Piston Bully Snowcat with our crew of 2 up to rescue the people. We did not know there were 17 people at the time. We had heard 8 to 9. And as the evening progressed, it just became more and more and more with one child in there. So they were able to safely extricate 17 people back down to the state police, Nevada State Police, and get them out to safety.
Sergeant Fisher, I mean, an operation like this, timing is everything, and it's critical because you have people that are literally trying to avoid hypothermia in their cars.
Yeah.
Trying to walk out.
Absolutely. And in fact, in this call, we had someone who was having a diabetic episode. And then we had people in their vehicles who hadn't had heat in hours. In particular, there was a Tesla up there whose battery had died just because it had sat up there so long. Our people went up there. The amount of snow was incredible. I mean, it was just standing at 2 to 3 feet. And then you had a lot of snow drifts, and there were some minor avalanches, which affected the condition of the roads. The snowcat went up there and had to push all the way through that and actually make multiple trips because our snowcat only holds so many people at one time. So the volunteers, again, they go and do this after hours. They risk their lives. And you've probably seen some of the photos. And it's really dangerous, but they do this for the community because they care and they want to help out.
Sheriff Balaam, what does it mean to you when you see an operation happen like this? When it's going on, it's incredibly stressful, but once you see it's a successful and safe closing to this sort of thing, it's really going to make you feel proud.
You know, for me, it's one of those special moments that you always will never forget. Because again, they are stressful, even in times, and we just had our Washoe County Search and Rescue Inc. had their yearly end of the year dinner, and we had one of our members retire. And you know, when I got to interview him about why he did it for 14 years, the one thing you hear from every one of the volunteers is it's about helping the people. It's no different just because they're volunteers. They're just like all of us in uniform, all of our staff at the sheriff's office. We join this profession to serve the community, and that's what they look forward to. Even in times, again, the rescues up at Mount Rose, we got those people off. But oftentimes, unfortunately, even SVU, they've had to go out where they know it's not going to be a rescue, it's going to be a recovery. And so they see those same stresses, those same tragedies. But for them, it's about still helping, because for those families, they want to, whether it's in a mine shaft, whether it's a drowning victim, whether it's somebody who's been exposed to the outdoors in summer or winter, bringing them back so the family has a little bit of closure. Right. It's still going to sting, it's still going to hurt, but for those volunteers to give their time, to risk their lives, just like us. I don't know if I'd want to climb down a mine shaft or go diving down deep. And again, it's not just our county. I think that's another thing that the community needs to know. Search and rescue goes throughout the state. I mean, each sheriff's office has somewhat of a search and rescue. We are fortunate to have almost 400 volunteers. So we have a very robust search and rescue. So oftentimes they will go train or they will go help other counties. Some of the drownings, I believe, was last year up at Topaz. We went and helped Douglas County. Some of our neighboring states like California will call us. We'll talk about Dog Valley Road.
Yep.
Usually, knock on wood, we haven't this year, but so they go just not to Washoe County. So here you have these volunteers. They give their time, give a lot of training, give their own money, sacrifice a lot. Their family sacrifice just like we do, and they go throughout all of the state and surrounding states, and they'll go and help. They go do demos. They go do everything that the community pays a deputy sheriff or some of our civilian staff here to do, and they're doing it for the love of serving our community. And for me, that's what it comes down to. Is it's special.
Absolutely. I think we've answered the question of how critical volunteers are for this. But Jack, I want to ask you, after 30 years of serving our community as a school teacher, some people out there may, hey, that's Mr. Wayman. You've already been through the battles, buddy, but now you signed up for something like this. Why? Why did you want to do this?
We've mentioned it, giving back to the community, being able to assist somebody that's probably having the worst time or the worst day or evening or night of their life when we're rescuing them. And it just really feels good to be able to do that. The camaraderie of the teams, actually all of them, it really feels good.
Sergeant Fisher, if somebody out there wants to volunteer and be part of this, how can they sign up?
They can actually go to our website, washoesar.org. Within that website, there are links to all the different teams. And then each individual team has their own webpage and contact information. Each team does a little bit different. They have different abilities. So you kind of have to look and see what is the best fit for you. Reach out to that team and just see if that's something you'd like to commit to.
We just saw some of those volunteer pictures of being in the Sparks Hometown Christmas Parade with us and being able to cruise around and it's their private vehicles. This is one of the parades through downtown you're seeing here. So just we do appreciate everyone that steps up, and it takes somebody pretty special to do something like that. Jack, you were actually with us when a news station did a story on, I don't want to say the 3 words, Dog Valley Road. And if you don't know what Dog Valley Road is, don't drive up there in the wintertime. Unfortunately, sometimes, Sergeant Fisher, can you explain the problem with Dog Valley Road?
So historically, during heavy snow seasons, just like we experienced last night, they'll close down 80. It's icy. There's large amounts of snow. There's vehicles stuck. So when they close down the roadways, people, of course, want to try and circumvent, and they'll look in their GPS, see their options, and they'll end up going where Dog Valley Road is. That's an avenue during the summer, which can be really rough. During the winter, it's impassable, but GPS can push you that direction to try and get around 80. The problem with that is because it is not maintained, it is icy, there are heavy amounts of snow. People unexpectedly end up in a situation that they can't get out of. Their vehicles get stuck, they slide off the road. Of course, a lot of people aren't prepared to sit in a remote location where they can't get out of. Maybe they don't have enough fuel, food, water, anything to maintain staying warm. So they end up reaching out for help. And like Jack has said, they're in a very dangerous situation where they're reaching out. And so we send our people out there and we go and pick people up and bring them back to safety. And historically, we've gone out there numerous times over the past few years. Different news organizations have reached out to like Google or other mapping companies to try and remedy this problem. At least Google has said that they have fixed that within their mapping system. This year so far, we have not had any requests to assist people out there, thankfully. So hopefully that is working.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it's true that there was even a tour bus up there, a bus of tourists coming over from California. Thought that they could get back. I mean, so if you don't go up there. It's beautiful if you have the vehicle in the summertime. It's really nice.
Yep.
But don't do it.
Yeah, it's not.
Or the spring. The spring. As it starts to melt, wait till it's dry. Like you said, Brian, go in the summer, enjoy the beauty. But yeah, don't go out there when it's snowy or extremely muddy in the spring unless you're prepared.
Yes, absolutely.
Unless you're prepared. I think search and rescue as a whole started in 1965. So 58 years this year, 400 volunteers. Again, I just want to say to all the members out there that see this and to our community, thank you for your service. Thank you for supporting the organizations. One of our IMT teams over the years, that's one of probably our newest. The resources and technology that they bring to the field now, we not only use in search and rescue. So some of that technology allows us when we're doing major evacuations, we can track stuff now. We can track where our people are. We can watch as search and rescue helps on evacuations, which houses need to be knocked on, which neighborhoods do we need to go, what area haven't we? So it's amazing the skills they have. The one thing I would tell anybody out there, if you're interested, please look up the webpage, get a hold of Sergeant Fisher. If you know any of our presidents or board members or search and rescue people, ask them. I'm sure they would love to have them come see a training because, again, it's through their sacrifices and willingness to give up. So, Jack, thank you for everything you do.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Any final words from you, Sergeant Fisher?
No, I love this position. It really gets you out in the community. It's a lot different than your normal law enforcement stuff, right? So I mean, it's actually a lot of fun. It's a complete change compared to your normal law enforcement duties, and you get to work with a bunch of great people, and have a good time and help the community, which is what we're here to do.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you and our Deputy Harvey, because again, I'm going to say it one more time, because I think it's so there's 400 volunteers that give their time to this community. So if you know any of them, please tell them thank you. We only have 2 paid staff, Sergeant Fisher, Deputy Harvey. Thank you guys for your efforts, because you have to help, supervise all of them and recognize what skills each one has and bring those resources to bear. So again, for the volunteers out there, they answer day or night, rain or snow, sun, no matter what. So thank you for your efforts out there. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for your willingness to just give your time. I think we can't say that enough. The willingness to come and serve this community, that's what it's about. That's what we're here for, is to make that impact, keep our community safe, and search and rescue plays a extremely vital role. In dollars, if we truly had to pay for 400 people, I have about 400, just to give everybody kind of an idea. I have about 418 commissioned staff. And so my budget this year with everything is 136 million, but for 400 people, that's about $75 million that we have if I had to have deputy sheriffs do what the search and rescue volunteers do, and they bring their own stuff. So add on all that equipment, the piston bully. We had some radio issues this last week because of the snow up on slide, and we called search and rescue, and they were there. Piston bully, ready to go, 8 o'clock in the morning. They took our crews up with AT&T and everybody. So if you're out in the community interested, please look into us. Again, if you have your questions on search and rescue, you want to know more, send them in now. We have Jack here. If Jack can't answer it, we can find out. We have Sergeant Fisher. We will answer those questions. Again, make sure you turn on your notifications. Brian, thank you for being here again.
Thrilled to be here, sir.
And so hopefully this provided you a little bit of insight of what to know about search and rescue. So turn on your notifications, send in your questions. Have a great month. We'll see you next month. And if you're out and about today, make sure you drive a little safer, take a little more time. And tonight, when it cools off, becomes icy, be careful. Until we see you again, take care and have a great day.